Welcome back to PropelAPilot. This video is one of the most important videos of the VOR section of our instrument flying course. You must understand whatever we are going to learn in this video properly and thoroughly. VOR navigations is still one of the main means of navigation, and understanding how to orient yourself using a CDI and an HSI plays a big role in how successful you are in VOR navigation. A lot of times, lot of common errors occur because of to and from indication, not understanding the CDI, not knowing what to put on the OBS, etc. This video we will uncover all of these things in a very structured and a simple manner. I'll walk you through the process of navigation using VOR. We will be using examples to understand how to use the CDI, what is to or from indication, what is zone of ambiguity, cone of confusion, etc. Before we get started, I would like to give a shout out to luismontiero.com for creating such a useful tool online, and I'll link it in the description. You should be using this unless you have a better tool for learning VOR. It allows you to use the VOR, put the plane around, play around with the CDI, OBS, etc. to get a great idea of how the different instrument indications change depending on an aircraft position and heading. So let's begin. We will start with the most basic understanding of the CDI. The CDI, as we saw before, is course deviation indicator, and there's the course index on the top. The course index points to whatever we set on the OBS. For example, let's do a very simple course of 000 or 360 on the index. In this particular simulator, you can see there's a green portion and a purple portion. We'll see what that means soon. Now, we will align ourselves on the north-south line that passes through the VOR, this particular line. You can see that the CDI is centered. This position of CDI does not change based on our aircraft heading. I'll turn my aircraft around at the same position and you'll see it does not depend on my aircraft heading. So this is the first thing you have to learn, very important thing, that your CDI is independent of the aircraft heading. It is about the position of the aircraft. For example, look, when I move the aircraft, that's when the CDI deflects. Otherwise, change in the heading does not deflect the CDI. Now let's take a closer look at the CDI. You can see that the CDI is centered, which means we are on the line that passes through 360 and goes through the VOR, which is what we see here. You need to look at the to or from indicator though. The to or from indicator shows that we are to. It is pointing towards the to indication. This means that we are oriented in a manner that will take us to the station. We have put in 360. If we fly 360, we will go to the station, but we need to fly 360. For example, the CDI will be centered and it will still be a 2 indication if I turn around. But in that case, I'm not flying a course of 360, rather I'm flying a course of 180. That is not going to take us to the station. So even if the indication is still 2, if we fly a heading of 180, the CDI would not change because we saw before CDI is independent of the heading, but we are going on the reverse direction. This is one of the common errors, going in the reverse direction. Now, if I want to fly that way, which is fly south, then what would I do? Think about it. Yes, I would put the course or the OBS to 180. Yes, I want to fly 180, so I'm going to fly. Let me change this to 180, and now I'm going to put OBS to 180 as well. 180. Now I have a from indication on the CDI, and if I fly 180, I will fly away from the VOR. This is the primary understanding of to and from. If you select a particular course, then flying that course might take you either to the station or from the station depending on your position. So at the current location that we are at, if I fly 180 and I have 180 on my CDI, it will take me away from the station. That's why it's a from indication. Similarly, let's keep the CDI and the OBS the way it is, and I take my aircraft and place it on the top, north of the VOR. Now if I fly 180, it's going to take me to the station. That's why we have a 2 indication. This simulator divides the area around the VOR into 2 colors, green and purple. The purple color is the area in which you will have a 2 indication, and the green area is where you will have a from indication. Let's see what happens when we go over the station. When we are right above the station, you can see that the to or from flag has disappeared. This is because we are right over the station. We are in an area called the cone of confusion. The cone of confusion, as you can see in the figure, is right above the VOR station. This is called cone of confusion because in this area, the radials or the spokes that we saw earlier are too close together for the VOR receiver to know where we are. And we are right on top of the VOR, so we are neither to or from the station. We are right on top. That's why there's no to or from indication. Since the VOR indicator is confused of where we are, the to or from flag disappears. Sometimes there's a red flag in certain indicators which shows that there's an ambiguity in the position information. So that is cone of confusion. Now, let's say I'm flying here. I'm in the to region. Obviously, I'm far away from my course, and that's why the CDI needle is shifted to the right. If I want to go back to my course of 180 to the station, we can see that I need to turn right and then get the CDI centered and then fly 180. That's why the CDI is deflected to the right. You should go to the right to get to course of 180 to go to the station. Easy. Now if I was passing the station, it already changed to a from indication, which means that whenever you pass the station, it's going to change to from indication. Every little thing that I'm mentioning in the video is very important, so keep noting down all of these small details. The station passage is known by the flipping of the to or from flag. When I'm on the from side and I'm going away from the station, if I drift a little bit to the right of the course, the CDI goes left, which means I need to fly left to get back to my course of 180 from the station because I'm flying away from the station. So you would ask that why did you say we should not have 360 when we are doing the same thing? Why should not I fly away from the station in this direction, southern direction, using 360? Well, the CDI is centered when you are on the course, but look what happens when you go drift a little bit right of course. When you drift a little bit right of course, the CDI also goes to the right. So for the pilot, you have to follow the CDI. You have to catch the CDI. If it goes to the right, you are going to turn right. What will happen if you turn right? When you turn right, you will go further away from the course. This phenomenon is called reverse sensing. Reverse sensing occurs whenever you are flying away from the station with a to indication, like you see in the example. Or if I was flying to the station like this from the north with a from indication. Again, if I drift a little bit to the left, the CDI also goes to the left. So if I try catching the CDI, I'll go further away from the station. This is reverse sensing. That is why we should never go away from the station using to indication, as well as to the station using from indication. Continuing the example, we have course of 360 set in the OBS. Let's say we are flying to the station from south. What happens when we cross the station? We reach the cone of confusion and we would see the to or from flag disappear and then flip to from indication, and we continue going. What if we are somewhere around here? When you are flying, yes, you are in the purple region, the to region, you are off course, you have to turn left to reach your CDI, but you continue going, and then there is this very little zone which is right around here on 090 of the VOR. This 090 is perpendicular to 360, which is what we have said. If you are perpendicular to the selected radial, now you are neither in the purple nor the green region. This is called the zone of ambiguity, and that's why the to or from flag disappears again, because you are neither in the to nor the from region. Hence, we don't know where we are with respect to the VOR. That's why the zone of ambiguity exists. It depends on what course you have put in. For example, if I put in 3, let's say I put in 290, perpendicular to 290 would be 200. So if you are on 200, your to or from flag disappears, or you would be on 020, where the flag will disappear again. Anytime you are perpendicular to the selected radial, you will have the zone of ambiguity and to or from flag disappears. Please note zone of ambiguity down for now, because we will be talking about zone of ambiguity in our chapter of holdings. It is essential in holdings to understand zone of ambiguity.